Quiet on the set.
Camera speed.
Sound production.
Roll sound.
Rolling.
Sound production. Take 2.
Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. Remember those childhood movies you loved? Now, we're going to watch them again and find out if they're still as amazing as you remember. Or, your father was right. You were an idiot, and everything you watched was stupid. So buckle up, movie aficionados. Over-the-top gore? Check. Over-embellished action? Check. Gratuitous nudity? Double check. Storylines so absurd you could drive a semi-truck through those plot holes. Oh yeah, some of those movies didn't even know what a movie plot was, and that's the way we liked it. Now, here's your hosts, Anna Santos and Jimmy Coates.
Yay! Oh.
What'd you do, Jimmy? What'd you do?
Remove that. All right. Oh, hold on. No, I think I got it right.
That's quite the wide shot, my friends.
It is a wide shot, isn't it? Hold on. Let me see something here. I do apologize.
It's okay.
No, it says, but my... Do I sound all right?
You sound great.
Oh, all right. Whatever. Whatever. All right. Today, The Crow, 1994.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to go silent here for a second. I forgot to upload our trailer watch, but I did remember to do that, and I did remember to do that. So there we go.
Exciting.
All right. So before we go to the trailer watch, let's go through the. What should we do first? The budget. Did we talk about the budget at all on The Crow?
I think I feel like we talked about how much money it made.
Yeah.
I don't know if we talked about the budget.
Well, the budget was between. Let's make sure this is the right one. 1994 budget.
Yeah.
Between 15 and 23 million dollars.
I could see that. I could
Yeah.
see that.
It had very gothic.
Very, very gothic.
For a 90s movie, this movie looked more like Gotham than the two Batman.
You know what's hilarious? The very first note I wrote about it was it feels animated / comic book.
Yeah.
And then that triggered a thought in my head. And I'm like, wait, isn't this based on a comic? And then I confirmed that. And I was like, oh, that makes so much sense.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was like, yeah, they got the feel across. Like it felt like you were almost with all the like when you see the exteriors, it feels very comic book like.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it does. And like I said, it looks more Gotham, very dark, more than Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Batman Returns was very well done. I think that's Tim Burton. Batman Forever, I remember being okay. But it was very cartoonish, and even more cartoonish was the Batman and Robin we reviewed.
Yeah, it was very cartoonish.
Yeah, it didn't look this dark or
no. It was this movie. Like, hats off to the set designer.
Oh yeah,
like oh my god, and it was so funny because like I'm like I wonder how they did this because I'm like some of this is miniatures. You can 100% tell. I was like, and then there's CGI. I know that too. But I'm like, where did they switch off? Some of these are sets, like studio sets. And I was like, oh, I want to know.
Yeah, no, it looked very well done. Some you could tell was CGI.
Yeah.
Some looked, but it still kind of fed into that comic book.
Oh, 100%. Like there were some shots that I was like, this definitely feels like a panel in a comic book. And you could tell they achieved that. And I was like, is that a miniature of the building and then a CGI of him in the window like that? And I was like, oh, I want to know exactly how they did it. Because it literally felt like a comic book panel. And it was amazing. So I was like, man, that's a good vibe.
Yeah. All right. Oh, it popped up already. It was on a different screen. Okay, so The Crow Domestically, made just over 50 million, so it made money.
It did.
It made 151,000 internationally, but in 1994, that's not a surprise.
Correct. International distribution wasn't a ginormous thing at that point.
No, you had to be a really big movie. It opened on May 13th at number 1, and then on May 20th, it fell to 2nd, then 5th, 6th, 9th, but it beat out When a Man Loves a Woman.
Oh,
That-
right.
Yeah, that was already for 3 weeks. Crooklyn, which opened as well,
Yeah.
with honors.
I don't remember
That's
that
with
one.
Joe Pesci, where he's that bum that is at the
Oh
law
my
school.
God, right, yes.
Actually, I think what's her name from Cutting Edge is in that.
She probably is.
Um,
It's been forever since I've seen that movie.
4 Weddings and a Funeral.
Love that movie.
3 Ninjas Kick Back.
I have never seen that in my life.
No Escape is with Ray Liotta, and it's one of those post-apocalyptic survival where they drop every prisoner off on this island just to fend for themselves.
I think I've seen that.
Yeah, I remember. That might be a good one. Clean Slate, Bad Girls, and Schindler's List. Oh, there
Ooh,
it is.
Schindler's List.
22 weeks. It's still hanging on the top 10.
That
Oh,
movie
yeah.
ruined me.
It did. Yeah, that was.
Mind you, I can't watch anything with World War II. I just end up crying and getting all emotional. It's very, very. You should see me during Band of Brothers. It's just 10
that's a
hours
horror
of me
movie, yeah.
crying. It's 10 hours of me just being like, God, this is so fucked up.
But Schindler's List is just
Oh,
horrible.
I can't.
That's one of those things. Like, you can be a great movie
Yeah,
that I don't ever want to see again.
100%.
Yeah, you were great. You were awesome. But
Boy in
I'm
the striped
good.
pajamas. Never
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, I'm good. I don't need to see. Maybe
Nope.
I maybe seen it twice. Schindler's List.
Honestly, I've seen it. It's in its entirety once, and then I saw a portion of it because it was on TV,
Mm.
and then I started crying, and I was like, I can't. Got to change the channel. I can't do this. Let's watch House Bunny.
All right, so
That
let's
movie's
go.
terrible, but it's so comforting.
I've not looked at this yet. Do. Here we go. So I have a feeling that, from what I remember, the tragedy of him dying during the movie,
Mhm.
but I remember it being quite favorably reviewed, I think.
No, I think people really liked it.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was one of those that people really liked, and people went to go see it in theaters, but it ended up with more of a cult classic kind of moment.
Yeah, which is kind of rare for cult movies to
Yeah.
make a decent profit and still be considered a cult movie.
Yeah.
It's too bad. Yeah, he died.
I think a lot of
Oh,
it
there
has
we
to
go.
do with the
Okay.
fascination of, like, Brandon Lee dying during this film, and that really pushed it because, like, I remember the news coverage when he passed.
Yeah.
Like, it was all over the place.
So 75 reviews comes in at 87%.
Damn, they really liked it.
250,000 audience reviews comes in at 90%. Yeah. And yeah, with a cult classic, obviously you get reviewers that just love it. And yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I will do what did I do last week. I think I did the crappy ones. Did I? Or did I do the good ones?
You know, you did the crappy ones.
Okay, so I'll do the good ones.
Okay.
Let's see if I can get over there. Do. All right. Well, this will be easier for me.
Yeah. You have a lot to choose from.
Okay, this is from Nadir Samar from Screen Rant. Original score 3.5 out of 5. The Crow easily overcomes its camp and inconsistent CGI by simply being itself. And this is from 2024.
Oh, nice. That's a very recent review. Now I have a review from 2010.
I think, sorry, just before you go on, I think there's
yeah.
a lot of 2024s because of the new Crow that came out, and a lot of critics revisited this one.
We can talk about that later because I also watched the new Crow after rewatching this one.
I have a window to watch the new Crow, and I chose to watch Reacher.
I mean, solid choice. I'm not going to shame you for that.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm not disappointed with my choice. I'm not angry. I just saw that season 3 was available, and I'm like,
Oh, did you just start it?
I'm on. No, now I'm on episode 5.
Of
So
season
I got
3?
2 more to go,
Yeah.
and then I think next Thursday is the
Yeah,
finale. Yeah,
I think
great,
so. Yeah, I've been
great series.
oh, I love Reacher.
Yeah,
Anyways, that's besides the point. Although I'll give you my review of 2024 and then you got to watch it.
I do
Um,
plan on watching it because we'll get there because I did do something for it.
yeah.
Go ahead for the bad
Um,
reviews.
so this one's from 2010. If The Crow is forgettable entertainment, it can stand as an eerie epitaph for an actor who looked like he was on the way to better things. That's from Owen Gleiberman, Entertainment Weekly, and he gave it a C plus.
Wow. I'm trying to look for an old. These are all 2024 reviews that people have went back to take a look. I'm trying to think if they got them mixed up or anything, but no, they're saying Lee's portrayal of Eric Draven. Yeah, it's all here. We go. 2022. No, I want to get down to the 90s.
I'm seeing a lot of reviews from like 2013,
Yeah. Well, here we
2017.
go. We'll go with Roger Ebert. It is a
Nice.
stunning work of visual style, the best version of a comic book universe I've seen. And
Mm.
Brandon Lee clearly demonstrates in it that he might have become an action star had he lived. 3.5 out of 4. Chicago Sun Times, Mr. Roger Ebert.
This lurid thriller is long on nasty shocks, but short on spontaneity, intelligence, and good acting. That's from David Sterrett, Christian Science Monitor, and that review is from 2013.
Employed a lot of talent in order to make this film heavy with a dark atmosphere of gritty, rainy megalopolis without hope for its inhabitants. 7 out of 10. Dragon Antulov, Rec Arts Movies Reviews.
Luridly lit, jumpily edited, and searingly scored, the film is little more than an extended pop video. The thin plot, an excuse for an orgy of destruction and vengeful violence. That's from Quentin Curtis, Independent on Sunday. I feel
Bursting
like
with
he missed
Go ahead.
the I feel like he missed the memo on
Yeah.
what this movie was about. But anyways, go on.
Bursting with startling images, eclectic staging, and gorgeous neo-Gothic set design, it looks and feels truer to its roots than any dozen Batmans or Dick Tracys. 3 out of 5. Mark Savlov, Austin Chronicle.
Very valid. The film is haunted by a reworked script that may be weighed down by Lee's memory, making it a bit of a morality play and a little faux sentimental. That's Anderson Jones for the Detroit Free Press, and his score was 2 out of 4.
It's still not that bad. It's not
No,
horrible.
like nobody's like, I mean, there's some like bad acting, and you're like, well, yeah.
Follows an entirely predictable path, but does so with style and intensity. 3.5 out of 5. Scott Weinberg, eFilmCritic.com.
Simply more of the same gritty superhero nonsense that appeals to depressed 15-year-old boys, and it's not done all that well either. That's Rob Gonzalez, Rob's Movie Vault. Original score C-.
It is dark, lurid revenge fantasy and not the breakthrough star-making movie some people have claimed, but it is a genre film of a high order, stylish and smooth. 3 out of 4. Karen James, New York Times.
A paper-thin story supporting a lot of rain and moody lighting. Scott Renshaw, Rec Arts Movies Reviews. Original score 5 out of 10. Damn.
All right, let's move on to IMDb. Let's see. So, okay, yeah, 221,000 audience reviews, comes in at 7.5.
That's pretty good.
That's
That's
pretty
pretty
good.
good.
Yeah. All right, I will start with 10. This movie was so awesome. I loved it. Oh. You could always guess the first couple. No, I don't want to review it.
No?
I'm in trivia. My bad. Did you know? Oh, quite a few reviews here. Okay. Oh, there we go. The best Gothic comic book movie ever made. Sean 68. 10 out of 10.
Sorry. One of the first hard R comic book movies and a winner all around. That's from Leon Louis Ritchie. And he gave it a 9 out of 10.
And I will say this, because when I was putting it in, one of my kids wanted to watch it with me. And I'm looking at I bought it. I
Yeah.
bought the 4K before. Yeah. And I'm looking at the back and it's 18 plus or MA or whatever it is. And I'm like, and I'm trying to remember, I'm like, other than the violence, I don't think it's that bad.
Mm.
And I'm kind of glad I didn't let them watch.
No, solid choice, because I forgot a lot of the first scenes.
Yeah, I forgot a bunch of the movie actually. So
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't let them watch it. It's not for younger children. Okay. Totally 90s in all the right ways. John Springer, 95440, 8 out of 10.
Mesmerizing visuals, puerile script. Just watch and don't think too much. 7 out of 10, second take.
Okay. The Mime from Hell. Extol, 6 out of 10.
Celluloid grunge angst. Thomas Celery, 5 out of 10.
Let's see.
Oh, grunge.
Revolutionary for its time. The Crow feels dated and vain today. DRQ Shadow reviews, 4 out of 10.
Not the absolute worst film ever made. Max _ 3 out of 10.
Okay. Not a brooding, dark gothic masterpiece. Just bad. IMDb, prisoner number 513877358, 2 out of 10.
A bargain bin popcorn film that your troubled teenage son/daughter will love. Suburban Pineapple, 1 out of 10.
Yeah.
Wow. They really hated on this in the ones.
Yeah. Okay. This is where I have to go silent for a minute.
I'm ready for you.
You'll see me, but
It feels weird to talk to myself, but it also feels weird to have silence while we're waiting for the upload. Awkward.
can you hear me?
Yeah. Huh?
Okay, here we go. Now I gotta grab it.
Yeah, no worries. But in the meantime, did you hear about the horror movie obsessed Polish dad who dismembered a pensioner before flaying off his face and then took his kids to the movies in church on the day he dumped the 27 hacked up body parts?
This is a movie?
No, this is real life.
Oh, no.
True story.
He put the face on his own face?
No, he just
Oh.
flayed off the guy's face,
Oh, just
hacked him
flayed.
up
Oh,
into like
okay.
multi. And then on the day he was taking his kids to the movies and to church, that's when he disposed of the body parts.
Well, you're already out.
I mean, really, why take a separate trip?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Just
Why
thought
do
I'd
it
share
again
that
later?
because I'm like, why are you saying he's horror movie obsessed? I'm horror movie obsessed. I don't go around hacking people.
Yeah, no.
But anyway.
Sometimes I'm sitting there looking at some people going, I wish I could hack you up.
Well, I mean, doesn't everybody?
What'd the guy do?
I think he just was there. That's it.
Oh, yeah, just had a bad day.
Yeah.
Yeah, just one of those kooky guys that just loses it.
That happens all the time.
All right, so we did we saw the reviews, we did the box office. The poster. The
Oh, yeah.
poster is fantastic. Like even
So
behind
good.
me there, the crow, the 4K is a beautiful picture.
Yeah.
For those anyone that remembers liking this movie, Brandon Lee on top. It's the door opening from the church.
Mm-hmm.
Believe in Angels is in the white, and it's the crow with the red writing and the picture of the crow underneath his feet, and and then all the wording underneath. It's a great poster.
It's such a great poster.
Yeah. All right, so let's watch our trailer, and then when we come back from that, we will review it, and we'll talk about the new crow. Right.
Yes.
We're staying in the 90s, and we're going to 1994. What do you remember about 1994 movie starring Brandon Lee as The Crow?
Okay. I did not watch this movie in theaters, but I
No,
did.
neither did I.
This was a rental for me
Yeah.
because Brandon Lee was all the fucking rage. So I'm pretty sure we watched this for a slumber party. I fucking remember loving this movie.
Yeah.
Like absolutely loving it. It was dark but beautiful, felt kind of romantic, like the love that he has for his girlfriend and the violence was good. Like I remember really loving this movie.
Okay, you're kind of fucking ruining it for me. It's all fucking romantic.
I was also a 14-year-old girl who was like, "Oh my god, I totally want to marry."
Are we talking
like,
about
a
The Crow
super cute
or
boy."
Timothy Chalamet and Wonka?
Okay, first of all, bite your tongue, Timothy. Look, Timothée Chalamet is, I'm sure, a very nice young man who's nearing his 30s, but for some reason in my head, he will always be 16. I don't know why. But no, this is not Timothée.
No, Brandon Lee did a couple of movies. I'm sure he did a few movies, but he did a couple of movies that were starting to be kind of like along the lines of Steven Seagal, Van Damme, because he did karate, Bruce Lee's son.
Yeah.
But The Crow looked like it was about him just to take another level up.
Mhm.
And he was going to be a big action star.
This was to be his big star
Break.
vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he died in
Oh,
the movie.
can I tell you that broke like everybody was just
Oh, it
shocked.
was so it was such a
It was so jarring to hear that
because you heard
too.
about it and then you watch the movie and you're like, fuck, no more movies from this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's see before we watch the trailer for this. Other than Brandon Lee, it does have a great cast of actors that you know them to see them, and they play bad guys in lots of movies. It also has Ernie Hudson, Anna Thompson. It has a lot of people. David Patrick Kelly, who
Mhm.
is in Commando and The Warriors, and it was directed by Alex Proyas.
Proyas.
And he did Dark City, which I remember liking, iRobot.
Mhm.
So yeah. All right. Well, let's take a look at the trailer, and then I'm pretty sure. I was gonna say then we'll do our predictions. I already know what I'm predicting. Again, if this movie is not good, I'm gonna be really mad.
Same, boo. Same.
People once believed that when someone dies, a crow carries their soul to the land of the dead. But sometimes, just sometimes, the crow can bring that soul back to put the wrong things right.
You're all going to die. Is that gasoline I smell? Victims, aren't we all?
Ooh. It still looks fantastic.
It still looks incredible. Like just visually. I'm like, I can't wait to see this. Like the visuals of it. It's gonna be incredible.
And this was this was a actual where we had a choice of 3, and we actually both picked The Crow.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it's been so long, and they
Been a
just
while.
I saw on Prime they just released the remake, which I
heard it's
haven't seen
bad.
yet. I
Like
haven't
it's
seen it
like
yet.
really bad. I'm gonna watch it, but
No, I'll probably watch it after I watch
after
the
that, yeah.
OG because I'm like, because usually that's what I do. If a remake or a reboot comes out, I usually watch the original, then I'll watch the reboot. So I was like, oh, I should watch the original, and then I was like, ooh, but I kind of want to do that for the podcast then if we're gonna watch the original.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna hold off on watching the remake, which I'm glad I did. Because then
Yeah.
when you put that on that list, I was like, yes. We'll
Yeah,
watch the original.
I'll try to do the remake too before next week.
Yeah.
So we can talk about it a bit. But there's some movies that you look at and you're just like, you don't have to remake it. There's no reason.
Amen. There are very few movies that you watch them and you think they need to redo this.
Yeah. It's usually a movie that's has a good idea, but it's not
Mhm.
executed. Like Rollerball.
Yeah.
That's a movie that could have been redone and they did it. And they did a way worse job.
No, it could have been actually done really, really
It could have
well.
been done amazingly.
And they
didn't
shit
do
the
that.
bed. They
Yeah.
shit the bed.
They were given the money to do it. And
See, but then there's something like Footloose, the remake, I really, really liked compared to the original.
I don't think I've watched Footloose, the remake.
You know what? It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Like, obviously, for a dance movie, it is what it is. But I was like, this was super entertaining. And I was very entertained by the dancing and
Was it a remake or like a
remake.
remake?
There was a teeny tiny bit of updating. So there were a few tweaks, but for the most part, almost the same exact movie, which I was like, I'm not mad about. There were a few small differences, but nothing that affected the overall story. Roadhouse, where they did change the story kind of substantially,
Yeah.
but it was still
It worked. It was
it still
entertaining.
worked really well.
Yeah.
Like there are ways to do it where even if you want to change something to update it, you can do that and do it well. Sometimes people just shit the bed because
Yeah.
when they remake the movie, they completely you're like, you lost the point of it. And thank you, Rollerball, for being that.
Yeah.
Like the OG missed the point, and then they remade it, and then they further missed the point.
Yeah. Yeah. They didn't get the point at all.
Nope, not even a little bit.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
And now, on with the show.
Yeah. For the love of God. There we go. All right. I watched 1994's The Crow. You watched 1994's The Crow. What were your initial thoughts?
I loved it. I think there's heavy nostalgia. It had a real comic book feel. The violence was amazing. Is it a little thin in really good dialogue? Yeah, a little bit. Is it a little thin in like story development? Yeah, a little bit. The story is basic, but it's there and it serves its purpose. So I mean, I still really liked it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. The dialogue was not the greatest.
No.
You could have used a little more like it was called The Crow and he had the crow hanging around with him. You could have used it a little bit more what's his name? The Pit and the Pendulum writer. Oh, fuck's sake.
Huh?
Not Vincent Price. Oh no. Sorry, this is gonna bug me. It and the Pendulum. Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Could have used a little more Edgar Allan Poe.
I was like, The Pit and the Pendulum. That's the one you're
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with it.
Oh, okay. But yeah, no, it looked great. The violence was great. This movie, while Brandon Lee was great, and I liked Ernie Hudson, this
Yes.
movie was as good as I think as it was because of its villains.
Yes.
Between Michael Wincott as the head guy with his sister Bei Ling, or Mika.
I will say this: his hair was distracting. 'Cause
Yeah,
I could see the extension tracks, and I was like,
yeah.
"Man, whoever was doing hair on this, y'all fucked up. You should've just given him a wig."
And David Patrick Kelly, who played the leader of the minor guys, T-Bird,
Yep.
Tintin, Lawrence Mason, Michael Massey, Fun Boy, even what's his name, John Polito, who played
Yeah,
the
John Polito,
pawn
the
shop
pawn shop.
owner. They made it. They elevated it. Like they made you want the Crow to kill them. Like they,
100%.
yeah,
You
they
like,
were
by the
awesome.
time the first kill happens, you're like, "Fuck yeah,
Yeah,
you deserve it." And I think that's beautiful.
yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
it's not that far into the movie that this happens. So you've already built with just what you're showing us in characters and in story, you've built enough that the audience wants murder and mayhem,
yeah, yeah. So
and they
that's
want
and
justice.
while the story is, like you said, a little thin, there's basic.
It's mad basic. I'm not
The
looking for
crime,
War and
the
Peace.
criminals that did it elevate it so much that you are cheering for Brandon Lee's Crow character to annihilate these people. And Candyman was there.
Tony Todd.
Tony Todd. Tony Todd was there too. That's
Yeah.
full of, and all the bad guys, they play some good guys sometimes, but they usually play bad guys because they look like bad guys and
Well,
they play them
Lawrence
perfectly.
Mason, who played Tintin, I was like, "Hey, hackers."
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was like, "And now you're all evil."
Now you're all
God.
evil. Yeah, even like the Darla, the mom.
Oh, yeah, no, she was
Yeah,
terrible.
yeah, they were all terrible people.
So terrible. So when they start dying horrible deaths, you're kinda like, "Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Die a little more."
All right, let's go through this movie with thanks to Wikipedia.
Mhm.
Dun, 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 dun. On Devil's Night, in a crime-ravaged and decrepit Detroit, a young woman, Shelley Webster, is raped and seriously wounded while her rock musician fiancé, Eric Draven, is shot and thrown to his death from the window of their loft apartment. Yeah, you don't really see it's not at the very beginning this happens, but it
No.
leads up to it very quickly.
You get some flashes of,
Yeah,
like, stuff, but y and that's one thing I will say for this movie, 'cause it's brutal what is done to Shelley, and it is brutal what's done to the Crow, to Eric. But they give you enough visuals for you to understand without it being overly graphic or
yeah,
expressive, you know? And I appreciate that so much.
yeah, yeah. You don't need to see.
No, you need to understand it is horrific and it is traumatic and it is terrible and it is despicable and it's evil, but
Yeah,
you don't need to see the details of it to get that. And they
yeah,
did such a good job of that in this.
yeah. They did. Um, Police Sergeant Daryl Albrecht accompanies Shelley to the hospital, but she eventually dies from her injuries. A narration states the legend of the crow that carries souls to the land of the dead. If the person died in tragic circumstances, the crow can resurrect their restless spirit to set things right. Yeah, and it does a good job showing the city's a piece of shit. It's
Yeah.
always why Detroit, like fucking RoboCop, the Crow, like it really is a
Well,
shit town.
they really put it up as kind of like
And if you
the
live in Detroit,
mascot.
I feel sorry for you.
Well, it's being revitalized like a lot. But
Oh,
when
okay.
it was so reliant on the auto industry that when the auto industry
Oh yeah,
pulled out,
yeah. It was
basically
lights
the
over.
entire city just basically started crumbling. So there were still certain neighborhoods like just outside of the city, but like it really got bad. But now there's been an infusion and even a gentrification, we can call it that. But they're taking all of the old like big houses, the grand houses, and people are moving back into them. They're rehabbing them. They're creating services there. So it's getting better. But for a long time, everybody's like, Detroit
Yeah,
is a shithole. And I'm like,
yeah, for
guys.
quite a while.
Yeah, for a while. So I can understand why, because I think it was just before this that the auto industry kind of pulled out. Detroit was already a little rough at that point. I was like, don't have to make it look this shitty.
Yeah.
But also, where is that super gothic church in Detroit? Because I want to visit it. No, but it's really, you see the violence of Devil's Night, which is a Detroit tradition.
Yeah, you see a
Thank
bunch of
you.
fires all over the
Yeah.
city. Yeah.
Thank you, episode of Criminal Minds, for teaching me what that is. And then you get kind of introduced to the characters. You see the bodies. You see Shelley, like, basically just battered and broken. And then the movie kind of starts 1 year later, and that's when we get the narration of the Crow.
Yeah.
They do the 1 year later. And then
Yeah.
they explain to us that Eric's about to come back up.
1 year later, Shelley and Eric graves are visited by Sarah, a young girl the pair cared for due to her absent mother. A crow lands on Eric's gravestone and taps on it, resurrecting him. Disoriented and distressed, Eric returns to his ravaged loft apartment and experiences flashbacks of murders. A gang of men, Tintin, Funboy, T-Bird, and Skank, targeted the pair because they were protesting forced evictions in their apartment building, which the gang leader's ruthless crime boss Top Dollar intended to seize. Yeah, that was a good scene of him coming out of the, like, it wouldn't be that easy coming out of a coffin, but whatever. But him kind of all disoriented and
he's wearing his funeral clothes, cut up the back.
Yeah, cut
so
up
I
the
was
back.
like, appreciate that. And he's walking like he's like someone who has forgotten how to walk.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
there's
it's
stumbles. It's still like kind of walking kind of weird, arms kind of moving with like you're relearning, and your body's doing things that you're not necessarily, you're like, do you remember how to do this? I really like the entire, like, as he's changing, as he goes, when he picks up the boots, that entire thing as he's walking through the city back to his apartment. So good.
Yeah. Yeah, he goes through his drawers and everything, and he's seeing the pictures of his him and his fiance and the little girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he starts
So
getting flashes, and
yeah.
it's like he woke up without remembering, and then as he kind of sees more and goes back to the apartment, stuff keeps popping in his head, and he's re-traumatized all over again.
And this is when he jumps and hangs onto the window and kind of dangles back and forth from inside the apartment to outside.
Mhm.
Stops, and his hands all cut to shit from the glass. And then he sees it healing.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. Realizing that any injuries he suffers are immediately healed, Eric dons black and white face paint and sets out to avenge himself and Shelley, guided by the Crow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take long. This movie doesn't take a long time to really kick into, and it doesn't stop. Like,
No, they do a really quick introduction, setup,
give you a little
and then
bit of
they're,
background of why.
yeah,
Yeah.
they give you the why
And then they're
very
like,
quickly, and then
here
they're
we
like,
go.
and now we continue. Done.
The Crow leads Eric to Tintin, whom Eric stabs to death. That's pretty much what happened. But
Well, no, because there is a back and forth.
yeah,
Tintin pulls out his knives. Excuse me. Eric reminds him of who he is. Tintin says some stuff that I don't want to repeat because, oh my God. And then that pisses off Eric. They fight. There's some knife throwing. There's a lot of knife throwing. Then there's just a lot of stabby. We don't see all of the stabby though, but we see the aftermath of it when his body is found. And I'm like, damn.
Just before that, he was at Gideon's pawn shop selling a bunch of shit that he stole from people.
And that was our introduction to Gideon, where he knows everything's stolen. And he says, like, even on the purse, the designer purse that Tintin's trying to unload, he's like, is that some blood that I see there? Yeah. So he knows how he's getting this stuff. He knows it's all stolen material, but he's like, it's fine. I'll give you, I think it was like $150. And I was like, damn.
He next travels to the pawn shop where Tintin had pawned Shelley's engagement ring. Eric recovers the ring and blows up the shop.
That was great.
but
That
spares the owner
entire
Gideon so he can alert top dollars men that Eric is coming for them. Yeah, that whole scene was great. Actually, every death scene is pretty good.
so good.
Yeah, and again, the pawn shop one was pretty good because he's a good actor,
Yeah.
and yeah, he really helps sell it. He's a douche. He's a good douche too.
He plays a great douche. And also I like um Brandon Lee's interpretation where he's like Eric is gunning for death. He's like, I'm here about death and vengeance, but I'm going to be just a little whimsical and unhinged while I do it.
Yeah.
And I like that balance because it really endears his character to you, which I think adds to the whole cheering him on while he's violently murdering people. It feels weird to say that, but I was super cheering him on. I was like, take him out. Take them all out.
Albrecht begins investigating the apparent vigilante disturbances while Eric finds Funboys taking drugs with Sarah's estranged drug addict mother, Darla. Yeah, we've also find out that he got booted down to just patrol.
Yeah, because he was a detective.
Yeah, he was a detective, and then I guess he was trying to do more on this case and got busted down to just a patrolman. And I do like his character.
I like his character too, but
I like
when we first see him, it's right at the beginning of the movie, and he's in the middle of the crime scene smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
I was like, what? That's not good. But in almost every scene, he's smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
Now, my question is it just because Ernie Hudson was like a serious smoker?
Could have been.
Or was that one of those like character effects that people do, you know?
And Detroit is a shithole. So I don't think they cared about evidence and just.
I mean, in this neighborhood, maybe not.
And
they're like, someone's just going to get killed here next week. It's fine.
You could still smoke in coffee shops in 1994, couldn't you? I think so.
Yeah, actually, you could.
Yeah.
You could do it, I think, up until the 2000s. I was clubbing and smoking in clubs.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. In bars and clubs. That was the last.
Yeah. Those were the last ones to go. God, smoking rooms.
Then bars cut out smoking. Well, I guess I'm not drinking anymore. Just at home.
Casino.
Yeah.
Good times.
He gives Funboy a fatal overdose and purges the drugs from Darla's body, telling her that Sarah needs her. Yeah, again, Wikipedia, it's pretty skimpy on the details. Great scene.
It is a great scene because he really freaks them out, and the Funboy's like, I killed you.
Yeah, because he's all high.
And he's like, yeah, you did. Now I'm going to kill you. And Funboy doesn't believe him. Darla's laughing until, people start getting thrown around and shot and whatever. And then
she goes hides in the bathroom.
Yeah. And then he crashes into the bathroom.
Yeah, that'd be my character. Just running and hiding in the bathroom. Tell my kids to find another place to hide. Eric visits Albright and confirms his suspicions regarding the vigilante's identity. Yes, he does kind of piece it together, but he's kind of like doesn't make any sense. He died. Albright tells Eric that he stayed with Shelley until she died, witnessing the 30 hours of suffering she experienced. Eric touches him, absorbing the pain Shelley felt. Later, Eric saves Sarah from being hit by a car, revealing to her that he has returned. Eric next targets T-Bird, killing him in an explosion. Yeah, that was again. One. That was because he just the car chase was great, and what's the moron?
It's not Skank. Is it Skank?
Yes, it is Skank.
Is it Skank?
Skank gets that little car and tries to follow them, trying the chase of the police.
I was like, dude, is that a Pinto? Is that what
guy's driving a fucking T-Bird?
Yeah,
trying to follow him,
trying to catch him. He ends up getting hit by a cop car that's chasing the T-Bird. But it's funny because when he gets into the car, all of a sudden Eric pops up behind him.
Yeah,
and then there's a chase and he's trying to kill him. It's super fun. And then eventually this death was probably my favorite. I mean, there's a lot to but he straps him down and then puts like a flashbang in his lap.
Yeah.
and then sends the car,
Car off the bridge.
and then it flies off and explodes. And
Yeah.
they were like, when they're looking at the crime scene, the cops, they make a comment about how he was like, he was not welded, but kind of welded into the seat.
Into the seat, yeah.
And they're like, we have to identify him by his teeth. And I was like,
And then Buddy's like, no need. That's T-Bird.
yeah.
Yeah. The following morning, Sarah and Darla reconcile, and Sarah reunites with Eric at his apartment. Yeah, Darla's now making breakfast and
Darla's trying to be a mama.
trying to be a mom again.
Sarah is having a hard time with this full 180. She's like, the fuck? I don't eat eggs. And then Darla has a moment of like, no, fine. I'm not even gonna try.
I'm going back to drugs. Fuck
Yeah.
you.
And then Sarah's like, no, I like them over easy.
And all this is happening in one night.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I'm going to be doing this in one. I don't know if the Crow told me I had to do it. Because I'd be like, really? One night? Can we maybe a week? Can we
Maybe he had until like
can we have like some breakfast?
maybe
talk
he just
about it?
wasn't wasting any time. Like I don't think the Crow was like, dude, you got 24 hours.
Yeah.
However, around Halloween, just for a little bit of woo-woo, that is when the veil between the living and the dead is at its thinnest. So
right. I didn't know that. Actually, I did know that. I don't know why. Probably
they say it
cartoons.
in every like Halloween movie, supernatural movie, anything kind of mystical. They're always like, the veil is the thinnest. That's also why we celebrate like the Day of the Dead and All Saints Day, because that's when you apparently your messages to your dead loved ones can get through.
And now we know. Top Dollar holds a meeting with his associates to discuss his plans to burn the city to the ground on Devil's Night. Eric arrives for Skank, but a gunfight erupts, ending with Eric throwing Skank from a window to his death.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, that was pretty good. And that was I'm pretty sure, I think that's where he died, in that on the table, where he stood up on the table and they all just started shooting him. I think I know they didn't put that scene in it.
Yeah.
And thankfully movies don't shoot chronologically. So a lot of it, the ending and all that, was already shot, but they had to use, and you could tell there were times when it was just really quick edits. You didn't see his, but they did a very good job.
They did. There's nothing glaring where you're like, oh, that's definitely a scene that they shot after Brandon. Although I will say that was the most unrealistic shootout in the world.
Which
entertaining
one?
As the one in the room where
Skank
eventually gets thrown out the window, but it's the most unrealistic thing in the world, but so entertaining.
Oh yeah.
There's nowhere to hide. Nobody's blocked. Everybody's just standing shooting at each other. Yet very few people get hit.
Yeah. The fact that no one got friendly fire
100%. 100%.
Because he's like running down the hall, running across the table, and they're all shooting at him, and they're not shooting each other. That would have been awesome.
Literally pointing directly at each other, but missing everybody. Even the guy they're pointing at, just missing.
And they even after you still saw a lot of close-ups of his face then. But yeah, I'm glad they got most of it done, because it would have been very.
Yeah, I remember they only had a few weeks of production left when he was shot.
Like if Brandon Lee walked down the hall and then around the other hall, like someone like me, like I'm the Crow. You're like, what the fuck happened? That's not Brandon Lee. Top Dollar holds a meeting with his associates, discuss plan. Oh no, I already did that.
Yeah.
With his lover and half sister Mika and his right hand man Grange escape. Mika correctly hypothesizes that the Crow is the source of Eric's immortality. Satisfied with his vengeance, Eric gives Shelley's engagement ring to Sarah and returns to his grave. Grange abducts Sarah as she is walking home and takes her to the abandoned church with Mika and Top Dollar, who takes Shelley's ring. Eric is alerted to her plight by the Crow and rushes to her rescue, but he is ambushed by Grange, who wounds the Crow, rendering Eric vulnerable.
That bastard. Can I tell you I was so mad when that crow got shot? I was so mad. Like I was like, how you gonna shoot the crow? And I was just mad. And then Eric kept bleeding, and I was like, God damn it.
But Albright arrives and kills Grange.
Mm-hmm.
While Mika attempts to take the crow for its immortality, the crow claws her eyes out.
Perfect and poetic. Why? Because she's fucking obsessed with eyes.
Yeah, because
Earlier in the movie, apparently, her and her brother, kill a woman with sex somehow.
yeah.
And she
Well, she was
takes
also
out her-
missing eyes. Oh no, she took
No,
her
she
eyes out
takes
after.
her eyes out. She's like, her
Yeah.
eyes are so pretty, and she's pointing a pointy knife. You never actually see her scooping out the eyes. However, you do see her adding spices to the eyeball that is on fire in this goblet on the table. And I was like, that is so gross. Then they're just tossing the eyeball around at people. They toss it at Gideon, and he's like, what the hell? Is that real? Yes. And then she keeps talking about everybody's eyes. So when the crow took out her eyes, I was like, poetic justice.
Yeah, and she
Take that,
falls to her
bitch.
death from the bell tower.
Mm-hmm.
Top Dollar retreats to the church roof with Sarah, where he fights and badly wounds Eric. Eric transfers Shelley's pain into Top Dollar, causing him to stumble off the roof and be fatally impaled on a gargoyle. You didn't see him hit the gargoyle, but you see in the after effect.
You see the aftermath.
The director did everything right. It's like, how is this going to look if we see it? And they're like, it's going to look like this. Shit.
Yeah.
Like, well, we're not going to do it then. Where some director was like, we're going to do it anyways. And
Well,
we've seen movies like that where it looks not great.
With the CGI of the time, trying to do like seeing him fall would have looked like ass warmed over. There was no way to do it. But you see the statue, and I'm like, oh, that's gonna hurt. And then you hear him fall.
You hear it.
And then you see how he landed, and it was fucking perfect.
Oh, yeah, it was gross.
Oh, it's so gross. So gross, but so good.
And Sarah and a wounded Albright are recovered from the church, while a pained Eric goes to Shelley's grave, where her spirit arrives to comfort him and return his body to rest. Sometime later, Sarah visits the graves, where the crow gives her Shelley's ring.
That was
and cute. That is our movie. Yay! What is your score?
My score is a buy it for multiple reasons. It is a really, really great, gruesome action movie. Fantastic fighting. Some of it is definitely realistic, but also this is a man who was resurrected by a fucking crow. So if you're looking for reality, go elsewhere. Excuse me. Also, I mean, yeah, the dialogue is not always the greatest, but it is what it is. It serves its purpose. It does its job. It helps move the story along. You're not looking at a very deep and very layered story. This is a story strictly about revenge. And they get you to that point really quickly, which I appreciate. They give us just enough information and they introduce us to the main characters very quickly, very succinctly. And then they're like, and now our revenge story starts, which I definitely appreciate because I hate it when they spend too much time on the setup and not enough time on the actual purpose of the story. Brandon Lee was really great in it. I enjoyed his performance a lot. Tony Todd is always creepy. All of the other actors, like everybody just you wanted the bad guys to die. You wanted Brandon Lee to kill them violently. They achieved their purpose. Now, were there issues? Yes. I mean, some of the Foley was kind of shit. There's some moments where you're like, that's definitely CGI, but it was also 1994. The nostalgia is super high for this. I enjoyed myself. I had a great time watching this movie, and it's not too long, and it's a fun, gory action movie, and I'm down for that. So I think people should buy it.
Now, did you rent it, buy it, or did you watch it on Netflix?
No, actually, I watched it on Prime.
Oh, on Prime. Okay.
I think it's part of MGM Plus, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I watched it on Prime for free, which was nice.
So if you're listening to this and remembering liking it, it is on some streaming services.
It is. It's apparently on quite a few.
I already bought it.
Yes.
And I bought the 4K.
Mm-hmm.
It looked great. all the time. There were some
Yeah.
areas where it was, but one of the difference I like about 4K and streaming UHD or whatever is that even streaming UHD, it's not perfect. Like the black sometimes
Yeah.
pixelate or they dampen, where the 4K does not. And where the 4K really shines is fucking sound, because
Oh
I
yeah.
know streaming can't send sound that great. Don't get me wrong, I love streaming. If I didn't have it, I would have been more than happy to watch this on Prime. I'd say buy it too because, well, I did.
And you don't regret it.
And I do not regret it. I will watch this again. Everything you said, and like I said before, the villains sell this movie. The villains
Yeah.
make you want Brandon Lee to win, the Crow to win. And it's a very simple story.
Mm-hmm.
And in this movie, that's fine. And
Yeah.
you start cheering for this revenge movie. It's well shot, well acted. It looks great. Like I said, there's a couple hiccups, but for 94% of the movie, it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
And it sounds great. Some of the Foley, like you said, isn't the best. Yeah, no, this was a lot of fun to watch. I really enjoyed watching this movie.
You get super, and I will give credit where credit is due. Alex Proyas, the director, you get so invested in Eric's revenge because it's not just it's not for a selfish purpose. He's like, no, I'm going to avenge my love. I'm going to avenge this other beautiful soul that was taken. And I'm going to kill all you motherfuckers, and it's going to be violent, and it's going to be gross, and it's going to be painful. And by the time he starts, you're like, fuck yeah, take out those motherfuckers. Like, you get really into it. Although
Yeah,
the first fight with Tintin, the punch sounds,
Yeah, there were a couple of those that were like,
there were a
really?
couple.
Even for 1994, it was kind of like, really? I've seen
Yeah.
1970s fights that sounded better than that.
Right? Can I tell
Like,
you, I had a
come
moment
on.
where I was like, is that a cartoon punch sound? I'm like, guys, do better. But for the most part,
Yeah,
the
for the
sound,
most
the
part.
sets, like
Yeah.
a lot of the dialogue was kind of cliche.
Even the young girl, Sarah.
Yeah.
Was it
Oh, she
Sarah?
was so good. Yeah.
Yeah, she was very good too. Yeah, right across the board. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely worth a buy. Now, before we go to our sneak peek,
Uh-huh.
I'll give you I didn't watch this. Like I said, I had
Yeah.
a window. I chose Reacher.
Solid choice.
I'm not
Solid choice.
apologizing for it. But I watched, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch the trailer because the trailer is like 3 minutes fucking long. So I
Yeah.
pretty much get the idea of The Crow 2024. After watching this trailer, I'm pretty sure I saw it before, but I really took a look at it before we came on, and it didn't look bad.
Yeah.
And it looked like it was quite violent. And the main bad guy is from Fringe. Is it the guy from Fringe? No,
Yeah, I believe no, not Fringe.
not Fringe. Some other show.
Hold on. He looks like the guy from Fringe.
Danny Houston. Yeah, he does
Yes.
look like the guy from.
Yeah, you're thinking of the British guy.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can't remember his name. Please, anybody, if you remember his name, scream it out into the void. I'm sure I'll hear it. But yeah, he looks like him. He's a terrible.
John Noble.
Yes, that's it. Thank you.
Yeah.
God, I loved him on Fringe. I love him in general, but
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, and I like Fringe. Yeah, but Danny
Yeah.
Houston, who plays the bad guy in this movie, I don't know about this movie, but he's usually great. And I like Skarsgård. I like all the Skarsgårds.
I
They're
like all the Skarsgårds
great.
too. It's a very talented family.
Now, this movie looked a lot like the one with the same idea.
Yeah.
Looked very violent, very stylish. That's what I got. I'll probably watch it. You did watch it.
I did watch it.
The Crow 2024. What was it like?
So here's my thing. I don't think they should have called it The Crow.
Mm,
It's as a standalone other movie. Sure. No problem. Because they called it The Crow, it
devalued it a bit.
It devalued it a bit. They spent a lot of time kind of building, because in this one, the Bill Skarsgård and FKA Twigs, who play Eric and Shelley, they meet in rehab. They know
I
each
saw
other
that
for
in
like a week.
Yeah.
And then they bust out of rehab. They do some drugs together. They party together for like 4 days. And then apparently it's a never-ending love that's going to last forever and transcend
that's what the
all dimensions.
trailer said. Sometimes a soul is so like a crime is committed so hurt. And I'm kind of like, doesn't look. At least the other ones were together for a while. They were engaged to get married.
They
were
were
in
like,
love.
we
They had
have a
all these
life together.
flashbacks.
Yeah.
And these guys
This-
look like junkies.
I mean, they are, to be
There you
perfectly
go.
honest. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I do like.
Was it a junkie crow? Was the crow kind of like bouncing up and down a bit, like
but
shaking?
apparently Shelley, there's some weird like history. There's a video of something that happened that Vincent Rogue, who's played by Danny Houston, is more than willing to kill to keep undercover. And when you watch it, you're gonna go, when you see what Danny Houston does, Victor, or Vincent, you're gonna go, the fuck was that? And you'll say that every time he does it. What the fuck was that? And nobody ever explains it. Nobody ever like says, like, this is fuck. Like, it's just okay.
Is it possible there's a longer version that makes a lot more sense out there?
This one was already like an hour and 15 minutes.
Oh.
We were hitting 2 hours.
Wow.
They spent a lot of time kind of setting up the relationship between Shelley and Eric. But not even, let me rephrase. They spent a lot of time introducing Shelley and her situation, introducing Eric and his situation, introducing Eric and Shelley as the flirtation, and then introducing Eric and Shelley in the relationship. And then they die. And I was like, that feels really anticlimactic. Then you figure out how he comes back to life. And I was like, no, I want a fucking crow pecking at, like, I want the crow is not the main character who brings him back.
Oh.
So I'm like, the
What's it
crow
called?
is like
Crow.
adjacent to this. And I was just like, you know what? If this movie wasn't called The Crow, like if it was just a weird kind of supernatural action movie, love story, you know, revenge.
Or just revenge, yeah.
I could get behind it. But I think because I went in expecting The Crow, like even his revenge didn't feel like, you didn't crave it as an audience member. You understood it intellectually, but you weren't invested in it. The kills were cool. The kills were so cool. And like there's the final scenes in the opera house, amazing. But it kind of it missed the mark a little bit.
So yeah, I missed it. Yeah.
It missed the mark a little bit. It's not a bad movie, but it's not The Crow.
It's not The Crow. Yeah.
And I say that because it was Crow adjacent. Like, for fuck's sakes, it feels like they forced The Crow into this movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe they shot the movie like, you know what? Why don't we
should
throw
have
some CGI fucking crows in here and we'll call it The Crow and ride nostalgia.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I'll still watch it and see.
No, watch it. Like, it's not a bad movie at all.
I had
can't understand.
even watching the trailer. Like I watched the trailer, I'm like, okay, it looks okay. It didn't look like The Crow, like 1994.
Well, it's funny because I just saw this. The budget apparently was 50 million, and at the box office they made 24 million.
Oh yeah, it bombed hard. It did not do very well at all.
And I get it. I get why.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if I'm looking for a man who's so in love, he needs to come back from the dead to avenge his dead fiance, then that's what I'm expecting. This was not what we got.
Well, I did not watch The Crow, but I'm taking my 7-year-old to the movies tomorrow.
Ooh, what you gonna watch?
There's a reason. Well, I'm not. There's a reason I'm going to see this movie. And this is one of the reasons I fucking hate streaming services other than Netflix. HBO was bought out by Discovery, TLC, whatever company, super
Yeah.
conglomerate. They have scrubbed every Looney Tune cartoon. They've gotten rid of everything.
Oh my
They
God.
shelved the Wile E. Coyote versus Acme movie with Will Forte, and they shelved a movie called The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie.
Yeah.
So a company called Tubi, starting
Yes.
April, has gotten some rights for a while for some actual classic Looney Tune cartoons.
Nice.
So I don't know how many, but on April 1st, you'll be able to watch which is great. I love Tubi. A company called Catch Up Entertainment got the rights to distribute The Day the Earth Blew Up. It
Yeah.
stars Daffy Duck and Porky Pig.
Sounds like a classic.
And they bought it for $15 million. I don't know. It's not doing great.
Yeah.
And even all the animators are going on social media asking people, if you like Looney Tunes, please go out and see it, because they're trying to get the rights for the bigger movie, Wile E. Coyote versus Acme. So I watched the trailer and I fucking laughed. It's the Looney Tunes. Me and my 7-year-old still watch Looney Tunes. It is because I have some on DVD and Blu-ray. They're the funniest fucking. She still runs around sometimes saying "Kill the rabbit, kill the rabbit." So yeah, I'm going to see that tomorrow.
Nice.
So, yeah. All right. Other than that, now sneak peek next week. We are
Yes.
going back to the 80s. We are going back to 1986 to a movie directed by Michael Ritchie. Do you know who Michael Ritchie is?
That sounds
I
familiar.
don't. Oh, he directed The Golden Child with
Okay, not
Eddie
familiar.
Murphy, The Bad News Bears, the 1976 ones, The Island with Michael Caine and some other people about this cult that lives on an island. I remember that movie. That movie was creepy as shit. Fletch with
Oh, I
Chevy
remember
Chase.
Fletch. There we go.
Yeah, so he's done The Survivors. Yeah, and he's done Diggstown. I love Diggstown. Anyways, the movie we're watching is Wildcats.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Goldie Hawn. This was not a Jimmy pick or an Anna pick. This was a Jimmy and Anna have to pick. We actually, I think we picked this one together.
We did, yeah.
All three of them I would have watched. I love Goldie Hawn. She was freaking
Same.
awesome.
Well, I had forgotten Wildcats existed until I got the list, and I was like, okay, yeah, Bird on a Wire, great, love that movie. Overboard, great, love that movie. Wildcats, the fuck is that? I Googled it, and I was like, oh, I forgot this movie even existed.
Yeah.
So I chose it because I was like, well, obviously it's been what, 30 years since I've seen it?
This has been a while.
Yeah.
While. It was around late 80s, I think. Early 90s would have been the last time I would have ever saw this movie. And it was where Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes meet. Their first movie together. There are a ton of people. What's the movie with not the movie, the TV show with Melissa McCarthy?
Gilmore
She married
Girls?
the cop. No, she married the cop.
Mike and Molly?
Mike and Molly. The mom in that TV show, she's in this.
Yeah.
Robin Lively is in this. Well, what do you remember about Wildcats? Because I don't remember a lot.
I don't remember a lot either. Here's what I remember. Goldie Hawn being adorable, coaching a football team of football players who were bigger than her. That I remember. I also, there may be some kind of inappropriate, like, white girl in the hood jokes, I feel like.
Well, it's 1986, so that's quite possible.
Excuse me. There's probably going to be some racially insensitive stuff. Because, yeah. But yeah, I remember her being adorable in a very oversized Letterman's jacket, in a really oversized varsity jacket, like trying to coach football of all of these guys who are way taller than her, which that's what I remember mostly.
Well, it is comes in an hour and 46 minutes. I'm trying to think what it's rated.
This would probably be close to probably a PG 13.
Think so? Yeah.
I don't remember there being anything super scandalous, but I remember it being a little like
Released
a touch
February,
risque.
released February 14th, 1986. Comedy, an hour and 46. It's rated R.
It's rated R?
It's rated
I do not
R.
remember rated R-ness.
No.
Damn it.
Now I'm kind of excited. All right, let me find the. We will watch the trailer here, and then we will make our prediction. Because I like you, I don't remember a ton of this
I forgot this
at
movie
all.
existed. Like, that's
But
how long it's been.
I love Goldie Hawn, and then you got Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson. I'm like, this could be good.
Honestly, it's a pretty stacked cast.
Yeah, there are a lot of names in this. A lot of people
Yeah.
that you don't know the names, but you know the face.
There's people that you're like, oh shit, right. Oh.
All right, so let's watch this.
Molly McGrath always knew what she wanted.
Hey, you want to coach football? Fine, you got it. At Central High.
Her team, the Wildcats.
Ready to play, coach?
Do you want to play football?
Yeah.
Don't wear yourselves out. You want to get rid of me?
Absolutely.
You're in training as of right now. Put that out. You think a woman can't be tough enough? Watch me. Forgot my purse. No, I don't intend to coach a bunch of losers.
And aren't your folks let you get like this? He probably ate his folks.
Your mama said you ugly. Hey! From here on out, I call the shot.
Tell him what to do.
Win, you turkey!
All right. How are you enjoying the game thus far?
You make this point, and every girl in the free world will want you.
You've been humiliated out there. Get out of my face!
Goldie Hawn,
Are you sure I'm the right person for this job?
Wildcats. Football had it coming.
It's like watching the trailer for Criminal. What is it? Criminal Minds? No, not Criminal Minds. Michelle Pfeiffer, Coolio.
Oh, Dangerous Minds.
Dangerous Minds.
Well, I love the description. It's like is following her dreams when she quits her cushy girls coaching position at Prescott High to become the boys football coach at Inner City Central High. I was like, no, we're really setting it up to this ought to be fun.
Yeah. Another Bad News Bears Major League. It looks
Yeah.
funny though. Like it looks 80s.
It looks so 80s and
Which is
can't
great.
wait.
Yeah. One thing I've like, especially when it comes to sports, 80s, 90s doesn't matter. There's we've got a pretty good track record with our sports
I love
movies.
sports movies in general. Like it's hard for me to find a sports movie I don't like, which is impressive because there are lots of movies I don't like. But yeah, I'm excited to watch it, and I do love Goldie Hawn, and the cast is freaking ridiculous.
Yeah, there are a lot of familiar faces there.
Yes.
All right, so that's next week. Yeah, I think I'm gonna like it. I think it's gonna be
so
fun.
too.
Yeah,
I
I
think
don't
I'm
think
gonna
it's
like
gonna
it
be,
too.
award winning or anything, but
I think
be
there will
fun.
probably be some very 1980s dialogue that may not be
that's one of the-
super appropriate,
that's
but
one of the things I look forward to most. You can hear my kids, Mom, Dad's being racist again. Just laughing at my fucking stupid 80s movies.
you're like, I'm not being racist. I'm just enjoying the racism.
I'm just enjoying the racism. There's a big difference, honey. All right. Well, thank you for coming back to 1994 and watching Two Biots for The Crow. It's definitely worth picking up. Either grab it on, don't buy it on any other streamer. From what I've seen, Apple seems to be,
So far,
fucking
Apple is the
Amazon.
only one that I can confirm you can still download the movies that you purchase.
Yeah. If not, start getting physical and buy the Blu-ray or 4K
Yeah.
or DVD, whatever. Yeah, it's
100%.
definitely worth a buy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anything you'd like to add?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Well, until the next movie we remember liking.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.